Friday, January 30th, and this is the evening update right before our major storm in the Carolinas. Okay, this one's going to be a big one. We've got blizzard conditions coming up, we've got shelter-in-place warnings coming out, and we finally got some confidence on how much snow everybody's going to get, so let's get right into it. Let's start off by looking at our winter storms outlook for tomorrow. We have a large, moderate risk of major winter storm impacts over a huge area. We've got millions of people about to get stuck out here if you try to drive on Interstate 26, 95, or 74 between Augusta, Columbia, Charlotte, Asheboro, Fayetteville, Wilmington, Jacksonville, Greenville, Kill Devil Hills, Raleigh, you name it. Even up there towards Virginia Beach, we are going to be having a tough time getting around in all this snow. It's not just the depth of the snow. We are going to have snow rates that are exceeding 2 to 3 inches per hour. So if you get under one of these bands where it's snowing really hard, it's going to be blinding snow. And then add on top of that the wind gusts even well away from the low pressure center, we could have wind gusts around 30 to 40 mph. And this is going to be a light, fluffy snow because it's going to be so cold. So that's going to lead to blowing snow and drifting snow. And if you're closer to the coast, we could be talking about winds up to 60 mph, which is a legit blizzard. So get ready for that, especially up there around Kill Devil Hills, which is where storm chaser Brad Arnold is currently driving to right now to experience this major storm for himself. Okay, so let's take a look at what the radar could look like as we go into the future by taking a look at the high-resolution rapid refresh model. This is what things are going to look like around midnight tonight, and it's honestly pretty similar to what we've got right now. This band of snow sticking around on the northwestern side of the Appalachian Mountains. It's dropped a good inch of snow here at the Weather House. There's a couple places that will pick up a couple inches from Knoxville, up to portions of Southwest Virginia, up to Beckley, West Virginia. These are places I think that could get a decent thumping of snow from this, but this is not the main event. Let's actually pull this forward and show you what I'm talking about as we go into the early morning hours tomorrow. You can see that we get some more robust convection down here, maybe around Atlanta, down towards Augusta, up towards Asheville. This is where our moderate to heavy snow is going to start falling. And this is the messy low to the west of the main low pressure center that's getting going off the coast of South Carolina. What this might do first of all is pull some strong snow squalls down into Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, maybe even as far south as into Dothan and the panhandle of Florida. So get ready for literal snow in Florida tomorrow, potentially in the panhandle. But it also might create a dry slot. I want to go ahead and prepare you for this. We talked about this days ago. So this is why I say it's important not to get emotionally attached to your snowfall totals, because things can change. This hasn't changed at all. This is something that we warned you about days ago. It is very possible that we end up seeing enough dry air get in the middle here to where we dramatically reduce the amount of snow that we expect in places like Sumter, South Carolina, Fayetteville, Asheboro, Sanford, Raleigh, Greensboro up there towards Virginia Beach. This could even impact totals in Charlotte if the dry slot is significant, and the latest HRRR is showing a significant dry slot if I've ever seen one. So, we've got two areas of low pressure. One of them is likely being modeled wrong. Okay, the HRRR is not very good at resolving the strength and placement of low pressure centers over water, and that could be messing things up here. So, it's not set in stone that we're going to have a dry slot over Raleigh tomorrow, but it is one of many possibilities that could come out of this very dynamic and complex setup. One place that definitely ain't getting dry slotted is Jacksonville up to Beaufort, New Bern, Kill Devil Hills, and Elizabeth City. This area is going to be getting hit by what will technically be a blizzard by 11 a.m. tomorrow. Storm chaser Brad Arnold, Brandon Copic, and several others will be right in the middle of it, trying to give us some real-time views of what's going on out there during one of the strongest storms that this area has seen in a very long time. At the same time, we're going to have snow moving back into Atlanta, down towards Columbus and Macon. The I-16 corridor, 75 and 20, is going to be quite treacherous tomorrow around this time, especially 85 between Atlanta, Greenville, and Charlotte. I think we're definitely going to have some delays on that interstate. Interstate 26 is also going to be tough between Asheville and Columbia. This is also when we can start to see some of that heavier snow in Columbia, Charleston, South Carolina. It's not out of the question that we see some snow tomorrow around 2 p.m. down there. Myrtle Beach could be seeing snow around this time. Notice how we still have the dry slot in the middle, but also notice how strong this low-pressure center gets. That looks like a hurricane, does it not? I mean, this is just going to be wild to watch unfold on the radar and the satellite. Like, I cannot wait to see what this actually looks like. But you can see that as the storm gets stronger, so does the expansion of the precipitation shield. So dry slot or not, once this thing really gets cranking, we're going to have a big precipitation shield from Savannah, Georgia, all the way up covering the entire state of South Carolina and North Carolina. Okay, so we're definitely going to have some snow in Raleigh by 9 p.m. tomorrow. If it's not snowing earlier in the day, it will be snowing later in the day, and that gap's going to fill all the way up there towards Virginia Beach as well. This is when some of the strongest winds and the heaviest snow will be falling between Kill Devil Hills, Jacksonville, and Wilmington, though. Even North Myrtle Beach could have some crazy impacts from this. It's going to be crazy to watch on some of our cameras, so get ready for that. And then if I push this even farther into the future, you can see that this is going to continue to impact the coastal areas as we go into the early morning hours on Sunday. This is going to be a long duration thing for the coastal areas from Savannah, Georgia, literally all the way up to Kill Devil Hills and Virginia Beach. And the storm's going to start moving north and east. But notice how thin that precipitation shield is. We're not expecting any significant storm, really, as far as snow goes in the Delmarva area, New Jersey, Long Island, or even Cape Cod. Cape Cod could still get kind of sideswiped by this, and we could see some accumulation up there, but it's not the blizzard that we were looking at maybe originally. But here's the thing. Everybody along the coasts are going to get hit by this storm in the form of the winds and the coastal flooding. I think that coastal flooding is going to be a problem in New Jersey, in Delaware, in New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, up even to Maine, even in places where it doesn't snow a single snowflake. All right. Now, we are going to talk about the wind speeds, which this is going to be the biggest part of this storm for a lot of you. We are looking at potentially blizzard conditions across a good part of the North Carolina and South Carolina coast before the storm really even gets cranking. We are going to have winds widespread across the Carolinas between 10 and 20 mph. Now, these are gusts. This is not sustained winds. So it's not going to feel that windy at first, but look at all the cold air coming down on the backside over here. This is going to be pretty crazy in Mississippi and Alabama and Tennessee. We're going to have 20 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts just with the new cold air coming down, and that might actually cause additional problems with our power grid. So that's unfortunate. But the main focus is going to quickly become the coast over here. Watch this storm form. This looks just like a tropical storm or hurricane. There's going to be winds over 110 mph around the central area of low pressure out there over the water. This is going to be a fish storm and a half. But even on the coast, things are going to get pretty crazy. The winds are really going to start picking up in eastern North Carolina potentially around 5 p.m. tomorrow. This is when we're going to have gusts getting between 35 and 55 mph from Myrtle Beach all the way up towards Kill Devil Hills. And we're going to have strong winds up there around Virginia Beach as well. Notice that wind field expanding as we go into 9 p.m. tomorrow. This is where things get pretty crazy. Even up here in the mountains of the Appalachian Mountains, we're talking about some places getting up to 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. The whole state of Georgia will be experiencing 40 to maybe 45 mph wind gusts. The entire state of Florida will be getting hit by some strong wind gusts. The area that we're most focused on right now, once again, is out there on the Outer Banks. It's going to be snowing heavily, and the wind is going to be gusting potentially over 60 mph by 11 p.m. The strongest winds will hit the Outer Banks more than likely around 3 a.m. Sunday morning, 65 to 75 mph wind gusts, hurricane winds, and snow at the same time in North Carolina, and these are onshore winds. So, not only are we going to have snow coming down like crazy, we're going to have hurricane force winds and coastal flooding. So, we're going to have huge waves crashing up against the coast. All that sea spray is getting frozen. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy what we see from storm chaser Brad Arnold, and this is why we have shelter-in-place warnings in place for a lot of the eastern side of North Carolina. The closer you are to the coast, the worse off it's going to be. And once again, this isn't going to directly affect the rest of the coast up the northeast side of the United States, but all this wind is going to drive potential coastal flooding problems all the way up to Cape Cod. How many snowflakes are we going to get? Well, in Charlotte, on the high end, I think we could see 8 or 9 inches of snow. I think that up here in the higher elevations of the Smokies, we could potentially see up to 16 inches of snow. I think that places like Knoxville could see 4 or 5 inches of snow. Atlanta, Georgia could see 1 or 2 inches of snow. Athens, Gainesville, Augusta, 3 to 4 inches of snow is possible up here. Northeast Georgia, we're talking about 6 inches. Greenville, South Carolina, 5 or 6 inches. 7 inches in Greenwood. Florence, we're talking about 7 inches. 7 inches in Columbia. Charlotte to Raleigh, pretty much, 5 to 8 inches is going to be possible over there. Our heaviest totals are going to fall likely over here between Jacksonville, New Bern, and Kill Devil Hills, where a widespread 8 to 10 inches of snow is going to be possible. I would be shocked if we didn't have a couple places over here that exceed 12 inches of snow. This doesn't look like a big-time snowstorm for Virginia Beach. It's so close, and we'll be watching this closely tomorrow. Maybe there'll be some small shifts, but right now, I'd say 4 inches on the high end. And as you can see, the snow totals are astronomically low, all up the I-95 corridor. And there is maybe a chance that we get around 6 inches of snow on Cape Cod. But that's the high end. What's the low end? Well, let's go over to the 12Z Euro AI, where we see potentially just 1 inch of snow out here on Cape Cod. What's funny is the top of the path is a little bit east on the Euro AI. The bottom of it is a little bit west. So we actually get more snow potentially in Virginia Beach here, potentially around 4 inches. So I think 2 to 4 inches is safe in Virginia Beach. Kill Devil Hills down to New Bern still showing anywhere from 8 to 9 inches. But notice how Raleigh just has 3 on the low end. Charlotte, we're talking about 4 on the low end. We're talking about maybe as low as 2 inches in Columbia. So that's a pretty big range, right? 2 to 7 inches. That's your range in Columbia. Unfortunately, that's the actual case. I would say 3 to 7 inches. That's a normal range, right? I'm leaning more towards the higher end in Columbia. I don't think we're going to get dry slotted too much down there. So, Augusta, Georgia, 1.9, a half an inch in Savannah, maybe an inch in Charleston, 2 or 3 inches in North Myrtle Beach. You get the gist, right? Let me zoom out here. You can see the whole map, you can see what everybody's expecting. This is the low-end expectation of our snow totals. Now, after this storm goes by, more cold air is coming down. Unfortunately, we still got a bunch of people without power in Mississippi and Tennessee and Kentucky. The numbers are going down, which means people are gaining power back, but we've still got people without power. There's still 60,000 people without power in Nashville. The unfortunate death toll now as a result of our most recent ice storm is over 100. And we've got another dangerous bout of cold air coming down. It's going to be near 10 degrees Sunday morning out here. And with the wind chill, it'll be below 0. It's going to be cold in Illinois too. We're talking about 4 degrees in St. Louis. We're talking about 10 degrees in Chicago. It's going to be cold up here in upstate New York, Michigan, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Canada. You see all that cold air. But what's really interesting is where the cold air goes as far as how south it goes. Look at that temperature in Birmingham Sunday morning. 16 degrees, that's crazy. 16 in Atlanta, that's wild. It's widespread 15 degrees across the Carolinas and Virginia up into the mid-Atlantic. The temperature in Tallahassee Sunday morning might be 21 degrees. And with the wind chill, it might be literally 5. We're going to have a very intense cold in Tampa. It's going to be near freezing in Miami. And with the wind, it will feel like below freezing, and it might even feel below freezing in portions of the Bahamas. This is an insane area of cold air. And yes, we are still talking about the real potential for some snow in Tampa. We're talking about Gulf effect snow. This is very possible. Anywhere from Cedar Key, through the villages, maybe even into Orlando, down through the Nature Coast into Tampa, as far south as Arcadia, we could see snow and it could pile up on the ground. It's likely not going to. I wouldn't be shocked if we got a coating of snow in Tampa as we go through the day on Sunday as a result of Gulf effect snow. Can you believe that? The warm Gulf water is going to act like the lakes do and provide snow squalls in Florida as a result of this, and the chances are decreasing but are still not zero that we might see snow in the Bahamas for the first time since the 70s, but it's much more likely that we see snow over here in Florida. And yes, this does call for a falling iguana alert. All right, so this is the exact kind of weather that causes the iguanas to fall out of the trees. So if you need an official alert on that, there you go. We do have hard freeze warnings and extreme cold warnings in effect for portions of the Nature Coast and interior suburbs of Tampa and Orlando. This is the first time that a lot of these types of warnings have been issued for Florida in like decades. So it's going to be very cold. This is not just jacket weather. This is life-threatening cold for vulnerable populations and a critical threat to agriculture and infrastructure. So check on your neighbors and make sure you bring your pets inside. There's going to be some pets that are going to be really surprised by the level of cold that's coming in. And the cold is not going anywhere anytime soon. Here's the 6 to 10 day outlook. We're below average in Miami for the foreseeable future. 10 days from now, we're still going to be below average. The entire state of Florida, the entire East Coast is in that below average zone on our CPC outlook, and we have potentially some above average temperatures trying to build into the West Coast. All right, one of these days, maybe in February, we're going to flip. All right, and we're going to have a nice period of weather where we're above average on the east and below average in the west. That might lead to severe weather, but we'll take it, I think, at this point because I'm sure we're all tired of the cold. And that's pretty much all the weather talk I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching Michael Carter Weather. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Tune in to my live stream if I'm live right now. There's a pretty good chance I am. And potentially share this out there on social media as well. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.